Talking Trees with Lily and Jad. Welcome to this week's episode, where we'll take a journey through a variety of fascinating arboriculture topics. Monday dives into the compartmentalization of decay in trees. On Tuesday, we focus on safety equipment and procedures essential for arborists. Wednesday brings a detailed look at tree planting techniques. Thursday highlights the influential figures Lothar Wessolly and Mattheck, along with their contributions to the field. Friday shifts attention to the invasive Ailanthus altissima, while Saturday wraps up with the management of deadwood in arboriculture. Let's explore these topics together.
Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive into the world of talking trees? This week, we're breaking down last week's episodes.
Lots to unpack. Buckle up.
You bet. They kick things off talking about CODIT and tree decay. Now, we know trees can isolate decay, but what new insights did talking trees have?
They went deep into the science, beyond the basics. Like, did you know the effectiveness of barrier zones can change depending on when the tree is wounded? Apparently, those biochemical processes are affected by the seasons.
Never thought about it like that. So timing our pruning cuts could really impact how well the tree defends itself.
Precisely. And understanding those finer points of CODIT, that can help us make smarter choices about pruning, wound care, especially when to make those bigger cuts.
I like it. Even small details can make a big difference. And speaking of important details, Tuesday's episode was all about safety, always a top priority.
For sure. And Talking Trees went beyond the usual PPE talk. They dug into equipment compatibility.
Now that's interesting. Tell me more.
They highlighted how even small incompatibilities between parts of your climbing system, those can create weak spots, increase the risk of failure. Easy to overlook if you're not paying close attention.
It's easy to get complacent with gear, especially when you've been using the same setup for a while.
Yeah.
But complacency? Wow, that's dangerous.
Right. And Talking Trees also emphasized ongoing training, not just for new equipment, but to refresh our knowledge of best practices. Stay sharp on safety procedures.
Safety is not a one-time thing. All right, Wednesday, they talked about planting trees the right way. Always eager to hear expert advice on this, especially with new research coming out.
Same here. And Talking Trees delivered. Big focus on proper tree pit prep. That's key for getting new trees off to a good start.
Any takeaways there? Anything beyond the usual advice about hole size and avoiding soil compaction?
Well, they went deep into soil considerations, the importance of keeping topsoil separate from subsoil when you're digging.
Yeah.
Apparently, mixing those layers can mess up root development, affect long-term health.
Interesting. Never thought much about keeping those layers separate, but makes sense when you think about it. Topsoil is where all the good stuff is.
Right. And Talking Trees even had specific techniques for backfilling, making sure the roots can access that good topsoil.
I'm definitely revisiting my planting practices after this. Now, Thursday took us to Germany, a deep dive into Wessolly and Mattheck, those influential arboriculture figures.
Each with their unique approach to tree assessment. Remember learning about them.
Wessolly was all about the science of tree stability, right? Didn't he have a method for assessing structural integrity using biomechanics?
Yes. The Static Integrated Assessment, or SIA, and the SIM, both widely used today to evaluate stability, identify hazards. He also played a key role in those tree crown stabilization systems, cables and bracing.
Right. And then Mattheck. He had a more visual approach, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. He developed the Visual Tree Assessment, VTA. Relies on careful observation of the tree's structure, growth patterns, any defects, to assess health and stability. He believed a trained eye could often spot potential problems early.
So two sides of the same coin. Wessolly with measurements, Mattheck with a keen eye for detail. Fascinating how they both contributed so much, despite their different approaches.
And Talking Trees didn't really favor one over the other. They suggested both approaches have value, and which one's best depends on the situation.
It's about having the right tools for the job and knowing when to use them. Maybe even combined elements of both for a more complete assessment. Okay, let's talk about Friday's episode, invasive species. Have you run into Ailanthus altissima, the tree of heaven?
Oh, yeah. That's a tree you don't forget. Seems like it's everywhere. And Talking Trees really got into why it's considered invasive.
Right. They started with a detailed description, but then they went deeper, talking about the biology and ecology of this species.
What stood out to me was their talk about its reproductive strategies. Spreading by seed and vegetatively, meaning it can sprout from its roots. Incredibly tough to control because even if you cut the main tree, it can keep coming back.
Like a hydra. Talking trees highlighted the challenges of managing infestations. Early detection and rapid response are key.
They discussed control methods, but stressed prevention is the best approach for this kind of invasive species. Once it's established, it can really outcompete native plants, disrupt ecosystems, even damage infrastructure.
Good reminder to be vigilant, take action quickly if we find it. All right, last episode, Saturday, they tackled the deadwood debate. Friend or foe?
Yeah, that one got me thinking about how our view of deadwood has changed. It used to be seen as something to just get rid of, but now we're understanding its ecological value.
Exactly. And Talking Trees did a great job explaining that value, especially for biodiversity. They referenced the TEST project, that's Technical Standards in Tree Work. Apparently, they've done some cool research on how deadwood supports a whole web of organisms, from fungi to insects to birds.
It's amazing how something we see as dead can be teeming with life.
They talked about the different types of deadwood, how it originates, reminding us it's not all created equal.
Right. Standing, fallen, dead branches on live trees. Each type creates unique habitats and adds to the overall biodiversity of a forest.
So while we might want to remove it for safety or looks, deadwood plays a vital role.
Talking Trees talked about the challenge of managing deadwood in cities where safety often has to come first.
Of course. But they also stressed finding that balance, preserving deadwood for ecological benefit while making sure it's safe for people in urban environments.
They talked about different ways to assess and manage it, saying we need to consider both the ecological and safety factors carefully.
It's a balancing act, for sure, but one we arborists are well suited for. We've got the knowledge and experience to make those informed decisions about when to keep deadwood and when it needs to go.
We are the bridge between the science of trees and the practical work of managing them, especially in those urban landscapes.
Well said. And that wraps up our recap of Talking Trees from last week.
Wow, we covered a lot. Tree biology, safety, invasive species. Talking Trees really delivered a ton of knowledge this week.
And that's what makes this field so exciting, constantly changing, just like the trees we care for.
Speaking of change, I wonder what Talking Trees has in store for us next week. They mentioned an episode about technology and modern arboriculture. That caught my attention.
Mine too. Love that topic. Can't wait to hear what they say about the latest stuff. Drones, tree inventory software, all those cool tools that are changing the game.
You know, listening to Talking Trees got me thinking about the future of our work. All the challenges, climate change, cities growing, invasive species. It's easy to focus on those day-to-day struggles. But Talking Trees helps us look ahead, embrace new ideas, remember what's important.
I agree. It's a call to action. We need to step up, share what we know, work together, and really champion trees. We can shape the future of urban forests, create a better world for everyone.
That's it. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, let's think about what we've learned, what inspired us, and what we can each do to make a difference where we are. Check out Talking Trees, explore their episodes. You'll find so much knowledge, get inspired, and hear some really interesting conversations that'll change how you think about trees.
And join us next week for another deep dive into a new topic. Until then, keep learning, keep growing, and keep those trees talking.
Thank you for joining us for this episode packed with diverse arboriculture topics. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss future insights and discussions. If you'd like to support our work and help us continue creating quality content, visit herohero.co/talkingtrees. Every contribution makes a difference. Thanks for being part of our community, and we'll see you next time. Stay inspired by the world of trees.